minimise leaving spreading. We've got the question of asylum, the financial sector, the monarchy, how to get a left-wing government, and women. And that's just a few of the questions we've got on that in a few minutes. So we'll start with Ken.
I think in the question of arguing for independence, I would recommend, buying Stephen Maxwell's book, Arguing for Independence. I think in many ways he's our Tom Paine. You should read this book, and don't buy it from Amazon, buy it from Worker, by the way. They pay their taxes. It's an important book. It's an important book not just on the arguments for independence, but on the argument about how to make those arguments. Those of us who knew Stephen when he was alive saw the way he argued. It was forceful, but it was an authoritative way because it was researched. He had a very good way of arguing for independence, and his clarity. That's what it was. His absolute clarity and ideas. So find his book and distribute it, because there's nothing better written. None of us, I don't think, could articulate the ideas in the way that Stephen did in that book. The other one is on the question of the period after 2014. It frustrates me that the Scottish Government don't actually use the term the transition to democracy, the period that follows the vote, because the question of the currency, of the head of state, membership, these are all going to be decided over a period of time. There'll be a transitional period, and I wish they'd use that term, a transitional period. After that, the people are going to have to decide in whichever way we choose. And that's one of the things I would say, just the last point was answering one of the questions. I can't answer it because obviously I haven't got a crystal ball, but one of the things that is an absolute certainty is that if we vote yes, then the entire political spectrum will rearrange itself. For one thing, the SNP will become the Liberal Democrats. I'm not insulting them in that way, because once you take independence out, they will become a slightly modified version of the Lib Dems. The Labour Party in Scotland will have to break with London. It will have no alternative, so it's going to have to change all its ideas. The radical forces will have to decide how they coalesce. And by the way, I would be very, I wouldn't go down any kind of organisational things before 2014, because some of the radical voices that are going to be part of that are going to be voting no. They haven't come out. They might be leaving Devo Max at this stage, and they may be attached to the Labour Party or the Third Sector and all that, or they might not be involved in any political party. So there'll be a whole realignment of politics. How that will manifest itself, I don't know. I hope it comes from the bottom up, and I think there is a relationship between Parliament and direct democracy. We need one to try and help instigate the other. So it'll be very complex. Everything will be up for grabs, but it'll be really exciting. And that's where we have to use our imagination to start thinking ahead.
Susan next.
Sure, you can hear me without that, can you?
Yeah.
Quite loud, I would like to address quite a few things. The first thing I'm going to address is yours regarding equality, really, about immigrants and refugees. If you want to learn anything right now, go to the refugees. Talk about austerity. Folk haven't seen austerity like you're suffering now. And as far as I'm concerned, if people were allowed to come to your country because they were fleeing violence and that, we should stand up and protect them. And the folk that are sitting in this room or any other year that didn't walk out the door, because if you want something that is for the future of Scotland, you have to look at supporting every person regarding their colour, whether they're old, whether they're younger, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're lesbian, whether they're straight. You have to look at everything, because we need a future and a vision that recognises that there is people that's different, and kind of what? It's alright to be different, because nobody should be bloody cloned. And that's the first thing. The immigrants that came to this country, they built their businesses, they're putting money into local economies, they're putting in money into national economies. Where's our doctors in this country? Half of them are immigrants. We couldn't thing with the National Health Service without half of these doctors for these countries. And let's face facts, the people that we train in our own hospitals eventually become fully trained and immigrate to New Zealand, Australia, Canada, wherever else they can go, and that does happen, right? So if we want to see a vision in the future, it has to include everybody. It doesn't matter what shape you are, what size you are, what colour your skin is. You could be Joni Craddock or Fanny Craddock down the road. It doesn't matter, right? Everybody should be treated. Not has to say we're all Jock Tamson's bairns. I heard that for Fife, and it's quite relevant because we are all Jock Tamson's bairns, eh? And everybody has to look at where Alison was going on about Hamilton. I'm quite proud to say I shut the Amazon Dunes with 5 folk in Dunfermline 3 weeks ago. To start looking at the folk that are avoiding the tax, they wouldn't be hitting the most vulnerable folk in society. And I'm really quite how the government are not looking at that. Look at the work programme. All that's happening with the work programme is they're getting staff free. Every other business, look at the businesses, they're the ones that are pocketing the money. Okay? Half the staff that are working in the organisations that are running the work programme, their ears are getting cut. So there's resilience there too, Ken, and let me be very clear, I didn't belong to any political party, and I really didn't think that I ever will, because I can't. For as long as it doesn't matter if it's the Tories, if it's the Lib Dems, if it's SNP, if it's the Greens, who the hell it is, I didn't care. I'll be sat at the bloody table fighting for the folk that I represent. I represent the people, nobody else. And this is what the difference is, eh? So if one party's doing something that I agree with, I'll shake their hand, get my 40-10 with them, I didn't care. If it's the first sign that I need, then I'm getting it. I've learned. Didn't just invite them along because they just come for the photo shoot. I've seen it. But see at the same time, right, I have built up fantastic allies in every party. I really have over the years, right? And it's alright saying, right, where does the vision go and who you're going to get? We have to get in about the parties and make them change. Because in the end of the day, everybody's got to vote for them. But you seriously can't just say, we have to get this party out and vote for that one because we need them. They all need the bloody arse kicked. Sorry, but they really do. Every party seriously needs to wake up and realise that, democracy already spoke. Between 60 odds and 70% of folk actually go and vote. So they won. And that's how nobody wants to touch the pensioners, because they're the loyalists that they'll run and get taxis, wheelchairs, whatever they can to get they folk to vote, because they'll vote. What we need to do is learn the folk that didn't vote. That's who you need to target, because democracy spoke, they didn't vote, but we need them to bloody vote. That's the folk that you really need to vote. But they've given up because every party that they've voted for is shouting them. Sorry, but they really have, in one way or another. And every politician that went into a job and a role for to say, I want to be that person, I have this vision, I take my hat off to them. But they certainly hell of a lot of folk down the river, because when it comes time for them to vote in the Parliament, the Scottish Parliament, they vote with a party. So to hell with wee Jeannie Squeak down the road or Jock Tamson up the road. It doesn't matter. They're voting on their policies, eh? But you have to seriously look deeper. We are the people, and we can take this back. This is a huge opportunity, not just for Scotland, for everywhere. Take to the streets, take to the Parliament, get to the bloody London, shut it down. Me and John did last year in April. We went, attached ourselves, 16 fucking scooters, John, wheelchairs, Trafalgar Square, we shut it down. Then you need 1,700 truckers, direct action. Half a dozen folk here, there and everywhere, as well as all the campaigning, as well as all, but we have to work, irregardless of who we want, who we didn't want. We have to work with the politicians, whether we want to or not, because we'll never change a vision and get them to change if we just sit back and didn't do it. And for as long as there's folk out there that I seriously represent, I'll sit at the table and I'll fight for the scraps. I'll not give them. I'll not sell myself for any of my folk out. John.